Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Good evening, Mavericks and new viewers. Great to have everyone here. Trudeau on a retreat or in retreat? He's on a retreat, and I think he is also in retreat because he is so low in the polls. Even the mainstream media that he so eagerly funds may not be so bought and paid for. They are turning on him to a degree. It seems some people close to Putin might be turning on him too, or could it just be propaganda? There are rumors of people who would like to see a coup take place. I'll discuss it. I'll talk a little bit about it tonight because it is a big developing story. The question is it true? What else do we have for you tonight? Anthony Fauci, the good doctor, has been hospitalized. He isn't feeling very well, and we'll tell you why. And those astronauts stuck in space. They're still stuck in space, and they are not coming home on that Boeing Starliner space capsule. It just isn't safe. Who would have thunk? Stay with me. We have more coming up right after this.
He's a fighter. He's a survivor. President Trump, defiant, strong. He is determined to make America great again. Pay tribute to the 45th President of the United States with this collectible t-shirt from the Maverick News Memorable Moments collection. Even a would-be assassin's bullet could not stop him. Instead, he emerged with his fist in the air ready to fight for freedom. Get your Trump Fighting for Freedom t-shirt with any donation of $30 or more to Maverick News. There are two iconic artistic designs to choose from, but there is only one way to get these. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Support free speech, free media. Support Maverick News. Call 1-866-248-1490 or order online at supergeeks.tv.
Before we get into anything else, we do have breaking news. The Federal Labor Board has ordered rail employees in Canada back to work. This after a bitter contract dispute that shut down the country's two major rail lines. So this decision comes from the Canada Industrial Relations Board, and it imposes binding arbitration on the parties following that work stoppage at CN Rail and Canadian Pacific Kansas City. All of that halted shipments, caused all kinds of problems on since Thursday. And the future of this stoppage hinged on a decision that came today from the Federal Labor Board. This was a bitter contract dispute. The workers locked out, members of the Teamsters Union. And so the union, CN, CP, Kansas Pacific, Canadian Pacific, Kansas City, they were all waiting on this decision. This after a long 9-hour hearing, and now we know they're being ordered back to work. So the union says that it will abide by this decision. And a spokesperson for the Canadian Industrial Relations Board says members were deliberating and they finally came back with their decision today. So Labor Minister Stephen McKinnon announced that we would see binding arbitration. We carried his comments earlier this week. So the federal government, when it really comes down to it, is in favor of heavy-handed labor relations tactics, not so much on straight-up negotiations when it comes right down to the economy. Unions often, usually anyway, don't seem to like binding arbitration, but in this case, the workers were locked out. So a little bit different scenario, but in the end, if you threaten the economy and the threat is large enough, and this was a big threat to the health of the Canadian economy and the U.S. economy, because it is all linked. When it comes down to that kind of threat, the Canadian government under Trudeau, they will take action. They don't want anything hurt too much. So, I mean, economically. So we'll keep tabs on this. We shall see how it all plays out. I'm not sure in the end who this will benefit more, the rail lines or the workers. My guess is probably the workers. Probably the workers will benefit more than the companies. Now, speaking of Trudeau, he has some problems because he is so low in the polls. Liberals still sinking. I mean, this is major, major, major trouble. There are storm clouds brewing, as the mainstream media is reporting tonight, and the fact that the mainstream media is painting this picture, and I think quite accurately, it shows that it's a very real thing. This is an existential threat to the Trudeau Liberals. They are on a cabinet retreat this weekend. It's a 3-day deal. Starts tomorrow. This is happening in Halifax. And this is all happening at a time when, well, here, let me show you this headline. This is Global News, just to give you a sense of where the headspace is at for mainstream journalists right now. Look at this headline. Liberals face storm clouds as cabinet meets in Halifax. And then check out the way this is written, too. Housing costs and availability remain extremely challenging. Food prices are still high, and the Liberals have been unable to counter messaging from Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre that life has become more expensive and unsafe under Trudeau's watch. No kidding. I was at the grocery store today, and the prices, well, we'll go shopping maybe again this week and show you what the prices are like. But then they talk here about that Toronto seat in that by-election that was lost by the Liberals, a longtime Liberal stronghold, flipped over to the Conservatives. And where was this line? There was this one line here that really struck with me. Says, refers to the polling. I'm going to have to scroll back up. Let me see. Trudeau and his team are so far behind the Conservatives in the polls that if they were on a running track, it says here, they'd have been lapped by now. And with the next election at most a year away, the runway to recover is growing shorter by the day. He's in trouble. These guys are generally pretty friendly to Trudeau and the Liberals. In fact, throughout the global television network's history, I think it has been a left-leaning, pro-liberal or liberal sympathetic broadcaster. And now you're getting this kind of language from Global. Yeah, that's an indication that he's definitely got storm clouds hanging above him. And all you have to do for confirmation is look at the polls. Let's go over to the 338 Canada poll and take a look. This is dramatic. This is why Trudeau is quaking and is shaking in his boots and why his days are numbered. We are facing an election in probably less than a year. Well, it has to happen in less than a year now, I believe, because constitutionally he can't go beyond a certain date. So it's going to happen sooner or later, probably later than sooner. But when I say later, it's going to be within the year. So here's the poll, 338 federal projections for Canada. And look at this. If the election were held today, or if it had been held on August 18th, more accurately, when this poll was taken, the Conservatives would have secured 209 seats, 209 out of 338. The Liberals only 75, the Bloc Québécois 37, the NDP 20, and the Green Party 2. People's Party not registering. Other parties not registering. People say it's a uniparty. There are actually a whole bunch of parties you could vote for. People just don't. Doesn't mean you can't, you just don't. That's just the way it is. I can't help it. If you want something different, vote for something different. Or not. But do you know what that means? This means that if the election had been held earlier this month, we would have had a huge landslide, almost as big as the biggest landslide in Canadian history. That majority government, the biggest majority in government in Canadian history, was won by Brian Mulroney and the Progressive Conservative Party of the day back in 1984. They secured at that time 211 out of 282 seats in the House of Commons. Now we have 338. And that was for 74.8% of the total seats. That's a record that still stands today as the largest majority in Canadian history. Huge, as Donald Trump would say. Huge. And so with those kind of numbers, yeah, I would say they got 338. So I think that would be the second largest majority in Canadian history if Pierre Poilievre were to win an election today with those kinds of numbers. And that's where we're at. I'm just going to check some stats here while I've got this up. I don't think there's anything else that even comes close. It shows how disillusioned the Canadian public is with the sitting prime minister and his liberal government. I know you people are frustrated out there, all of you, pretty much. Have patience. It's coming. It's coming. What else can I tell you? I keep saying it. The proof is right in front of you. All you got to do is hold on. Change is on the horizon. The winds of change are blowing. And the winds of change were certainly blowing in Arizona last night. That's when RFK Jr. took to the stage and threw his support behind President Trump. Big shift. What a moment. This is what it looked like behind the scenes, backstage, as RFK Jr. ventured out onto stage to stand beside President Trump and then finally stand up and speak at the invitation of Trump at that big rally. Here's what it looked like. Behind the scenes, I think Trump has better ties. RFK Jr.'s ties, for me, they're too narrow, kind of like something out of the 80s, you know? Which is probably back in fashion now, right? But I never liked those skinny ties myself. Let me ask you something. Does anybody out there know how to tie a necktie? I'm going to check the chat right now. When I was working in mainstream media, television, before things went really weird, I had a nickname. Anybody know what my nickname was? I've said it on this program before. Let me check the chat. Gonna check the chat. Anybody know what my nickname was? I'll give it a moment here. And then I'm going to comment about this whole fashion statement thing. Yeah, Johnny says, no ties for him. Why don't you like ties, Johnny? I'm in the chat for our people who are just listening on the listening to audio. Johnny doesn't like neckties? Doesn't like ties? Why? They're classy. I think if we got back to dressing better, our whole society might be a little bit better off. And I'm guilty of it too. I go around dressing very casually, these days especially. But I think, it used to be you'd see people just dressed up more, even when they're just out and about. And today I see people at the store sometimes in just sweatpants or even pajamas or worse. Walmart fashions. Oh, man. Does anybody remember what my nickname was? Does anybody? Anybody know? Anybody have an answer to the $64,000 question? Anomaly 330 says, Rick the commie sniffer, it's joke Rick. And Norfa says these days people are out in their pajamas. Yes, they are. They absolutely are. It's freaking ridiculous, actually. Yeah, let me see if maybe we can find some of that. There's a knife-wielding man at Walmart. Let's just do a Twitter scroll. This will be fun. I bet you we see a real circus here. Attention, Walmart shoppers. Thong in aisle 7. And of that, I'm not joking. I was at Walmart today. I had to go down there briefly. And I took note of something. When I went, I noticed at the cash register, there was a sign up that says they are no longer taking U.S. currency. Not a word of a lie. I should have taken a picture of it. You'll have to take my word for it, but it's true. They had like a little 8.5 by 11 piece of paper printed out on an inkjet printer. We are no longer accepting U.S. currency. I asked the young lad at the checkout why, and he didn't really answer me. I don't know if maybe he was told not to tell people why. I think I know why. It's probably because they're probably counterfeit U.S. bills in circulation. That is likely why. And I think it's probably temporary. But I'm going to dig into it more to find out more about it. Because it did pique my interest. I didn't really have time to get into it too deep today, but I think there's a story there, folks. I came home and I did a little research and I couldn't find any information on it, which leads me to believe that it is probably something that is regional in scope for Walmart stores here in Canada. And there's Walmart fashion for you right there. What the heck is that? Found this in a thread of Walmart shopper photos. It says, my Walmart is so dull by comparison. Well, isn't that special? Well, isn't that special? How did I get on this subject tonight? And here's this dramatic footage of somebody with a knife at Walmart.
Oh, he's waving tonight. Oh. Somebody get me. Oh! Oh, he doing Dave Chappelle.
Oh my God, he just got clocked with that. What do they call those things? Standard. And yeah, it looks like security's getting the better of him. Moral of the story is don't wave a knife around and you won't get beat upside the head
He
with one
had
of
a knife.
those
That's why they tried to get it from him. That's all.
crowd control
And he
standard
was saying he
things,
was
whatever
gonna
they
stab
call
people
those
because he wanted
things.
$20.
I can't remember the name for those
Walmart
things.
get a man $20.
One more time. Let's take a look at this guy with a knife.
Ooh, he waving the knife. Ooh.
But this never happens at Walmart. This never happened at Walmart.
Oh! Oh, this he doing Dave Chappelle.
Oh, wow. Wacko Jacko. You just got clocked, baby. Yeah, don't do that. That's a bad idea. Do not go into Walmart with a knife and threaten people, or somebody's going to smack you upside the head with one of them crowd barricade thingy-majiggies and smack you in the skull, baby. Don't do it. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time, or take that thing upside the head. What else we got going on here? Come on, Walmart shoppers, show us some fashions. That's pretty, I like that. That looks kind of fashionable and comfortable. And there's the guy with the knife again. This was a man with a knife demanding $20 in a Walmart store in Columbia, South Carolina. He was disarmed in dramatic fashion when one shopper hit him from behind with a pole. Well, it wasn't a pole. It was one of them crowd thingy-majiggies. That's the technical term. And he was subsequently arrested. Now, that was back in January 15th of 2023. But still, very entertaining. I must say, he's lucky he didn't get killed, man. He's got a strong noggin. Oh, here's a little Walmart fashion. I love those shoes. Now, that's bright. I'll tell you, somebody's got very brave fashion sense. Check out that color. Wow. Neon shoes, baby. I don't know if that's news, but it's making the rounds. Oh, my goodness. Cover your eyes, children. My God. What the heck? See, this is what I'm talking. Oh, it was about the neckties, right? Yeah. Like, what is that? Oh, my goodness. Okay. Oh my God. Well, she's wearing something that counts as clothes. And she's happy. And winking at you. This guy, he's a cheeky devil, isn't he? Oh my goodness. See, this is what I mean. People used to dress up, not, well, I guess they're dressed up too in their own way. Wearing this to my local Walmart and no one can stop me, actually, it says. I don't know what the heck you call that. It's a bunny outfit of some kind. Yeah, I told you. Thong in aisle 3, right there. And are you hearing about this stuff at Costco? What are you hearing about that? They're going to start checking people at Costco? Retina scans or fingerprinting or brain scans or whatever the hell that is. I just remembered that. Costco, I'm going to look it up. John was telling me about that. Costco to check shoppers an ID. Yeah, Costco is cracking down on memberships with scanners. I don't know, is this in Canada and the U.S.? Costco is testing membership card scanners and entrances. That's back in January, and this is from a few days ago. Costco cracking down on membership by sharing. Oh, membership share. That's why, by scanning cards and checking IDs. I got you. So if you usually borrow someone else's Costco card, pretty soon you won't be able to use it unless they head to the store with you. Because Costco's going to crack down on membership sharing. See, yes, you see. But they put your picture on the cards up here. They always have. I don't know if that's the case in the U.S. I think it is. Yeah, you have to have your picture taken. So anyway, they're going to check your ID now to make sure it matches the name on the membership card that you scan when you enter the store. Wow. See, there you go. You can't just take somebody else's card there and go shopping anymore. Scanning is a way to protect membership fees, it says here, which are big money for Costco. The retailer earned $4.6 billion in membership fees from nearly 128 million members last year. All of that information was available in the company's 2023 annual report, and $1.12 billion in fees in the most recent quarter. That's a lot of coin, man, just from membership fees. They say that they need the fees, of course, to keep their overall prices down. Costco membership is $60. That's in the U.S. But as of September 1st, Gold Star membership in the U.S. and Canada will cost $65. And executive memberships will increase from $120 to $130, with the membership's maximum annual 2% reward increasing from $1,000 to $1,250. And each Gold Star and Executive membership includes 2 membership cards, and you can get a digital membership card to use in the Costco app. What a deal! So you can pay them for the privilege of going shopping in their store. Any other Walmart fashions that we can take a look at tonight? They don't play the quality of music that they used to play back in the 70s, though, at Kmart. Kmart, mwah, that was music. That was good music. And that is one heck of a thing. Whatever that outfit is called. What is that? I don't know. But it's cracking me up. Oh, God, what has happened to our society? See, if they could just bring back neckties, we would all be much better off. You see what I'm saying? I mean, come on. Come on. Come on, this person has 3 butts. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We should not be laughing. At least I shouldn't be. I'm sorry. It's not politically correct. I'm so insensitive. But I can't help it. Oh my God. Is that real or is that artificial intelligence? I don't know. But it's making me laugh and I can't help it and I don't care. I have to take a break. Oh, I'm sorry. I just have to.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on Earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching.
The world is watching. On TV, the entire world is watching. On social media.
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching.
Okay, I'm back. And has anyone guessed what my nickname was? Does anyone remember? Has anyone even come? I don't hear. No, you guys don't know. You have no idea. I'm going to check the chat over here. I should have offered a big reward, a big prize, if someone got it right. If someone got it right. Hang on a second here. Somebody's talking about YouTube. Let me see. What's going on with YouTube? We've been dealing with all the censorship stuff on YouTube, right? Those guys over there, I think it's all automated. It's all automated systems. They just pick up on keywords and then shut anything down that comes up on their radar, I think. There are other things going on over there too, but I'm just tired of it all. They don't really, we got banned on there for a week because of, I don't even want to say the word because it'll trigger the algorithm again. And it wasn't even about the thing in the arm. It was like the subject, nothing to do with it at all. It was about First Nations rights and law. But I know. There were a couple of keywords that were similar, and I think that's what set the system off. Anyway, yeah, you kicked off YouTube again for that, Rick. It says, yeah, I could. That's right, just for being so insensitive to the person with 3 butts. And I'm not even talking like, you know, it's like, it was like this way. It was up and down, not sideways. Anyway, okay. So anyway, my nickname was Necktie. That's because when I worked when I worked at CTV, I always wore a tie, and I would wear kind of fun ties. But they were ties that were sort of subtle. If you saw them on camera, you couldn't really tell what they were. But somewhere on the tie, there'd be like Bugs Bunny or wine labels, or that was another one that I liked that one, even though I don't really drink wine. I had a wine label tie, stuff like that, and the designs were always kind of cool. And when I had co-op students, I would teach them how to tie neckties. Well, I was like, there was a young guy, a young boy. I can't remember his name. I've had so many co-op students over the years, but he was here working in the studio, and he had to go to something, and he was trying to tie a tie, and I taught him how to tie a tie. How many people out there can tie a tie? Okay, that is a test for a civilized society, a civilized community. If you have to have people who know how to tie neckties. You can gauge the sophistication of society based on the percentage of people who know how to tie neckties. And if you have women who know how to tie neckties, they're good to have around because they'll rescue the men. Or maybe they want to wear the neckties today, and that's cool too, because that can be actually pretty darn funky fashion. All right, so neckties are for everyone. I say bring back the neckties. I should start wearing ties on the air again. There you go. It's just that these shirts pay homage to the truckers. Oh man, yeah, they're kind of like, these are kind of like I'd have to say, these shirts, these ones here, these are the most comfortable. They're the best shirts I have ever had. These SST shirts from years ago. I've had these things for like 10 years. Why am I talking about this? This is not news. Let's get back to the stories of the day. Oh, I'm just distracted tonight, but that's okay. Jackson Hinkle, he hates America. He despises the country. I'll tell you, and he's so happy. He hates the West. He hates freedom. He hates everything. With every fiber of his being, he despises the West. And he's cheerleading again tonight for Iran and the Houthis, because he loves those guys. He loves authoritarianism. He loves communofascism. He is an enemy of America, and he hates the country. But he's so happy tonight because the Houthis in Yemen have blown up a Greek oil tanker in the Red Sea. He thinks this is fantastic, you see. He thinks this is just the best thing since the last huge attack and disaster against the West. So he's just beside himself tonight. So he's posted on social media again video of the oil tanker being blown to bits and on fire. And he's celebrating because he hates your country. Here it is. And he got dramatic music with it to make it really exciting. And what isn't, see, there you go, Jackson. Good for you. Yeah, his Iranian terrorist friends and his Houthi buddies blowing the ship to bits. I wonder how many people died. He's happy about that too, I guess. Put a little dramatic music behind it. Death to America and the West. Jackson Hinkle. Soon to make another appearance, I'm sure, on a broadcast with Tucker Carlson. Who else is cheering for the death of America? I don't know. Where else is Jackson Hinkle? What else has he got posted tonight? I think he's hanging out with his Iranian buddies. I think I got. Oh, there we are. Let's show you Jackson. He wears a necktie too because he's very stylish. He's very dapper. Of course, he can't keep a girlfriend. Had Miss Russia as his main squeeze there for a little while till she ditched him, which was probably all for show anyway. But here he is hanging out with his, who is this? Is this Hamas that he's hanging with tonight? Or, yeah, no, these are Iranian, or maybe, I don't know. There he is. Who's with Jackson? Who else hates the United States and Canada and the West? He does. That's what he's all about. I wonder, of course, I'm sure he's not being paid or anything. Just saying. Because he's just straight up. He's just a straight up journalist, that guy. Yep. Gotta love him. What else we got going on? Who else wants a little truth tonight? How about this? This is interesting. I don't know how much truth there is in this, but I'll give you my take on it. To give you a little perspective that might give you a little more truth. Vivek Ramaswamy, you know, he went to the DNC convention, and then he was swarmed by the pro-Palestinian protesters outside, right? Let's run a little of this again, and I'm going to comment a bit on this. Politics, man, politics. This is, remember this from this week? Here he is. So Vivek, of course, was running against Trump for the Republican nomination. Not successful, but the whole time he was doing it, he was just sucking up to Trump. He clearly was hoping to get the VP nod, the running mate nod. He didn't get it. But I kind of like him, right? He's a very sharp guy, great speaker. The thing about this stuff is, though, you know, I was watching some of this and I was like, something about this. Oh, there's that Benny guy. The Benny guy? Yeah, I haven't met him. I'd like to talk to him at some point. He seems like a pretty interesting cat. Okay, so there's Vivek. All right. But you see, look. If you think this was just like by chance, that he just happened to get swarmed by the crowd, take note of something. You see on his lapel, first you see the American flag. What's right beside the American flag? Microphone. Microphony. Yeah, he was wearing a wireless mic. And he had somebody following him around with a camera. And look what somebody handed him. Some sort of a publication that says communist right on the top. Why am I taking note of all these things? Because there was nothing organic about it. He did all of that on purpose. I noticed when he was inside that he was going around talking to prominent personalities, and it was all being shot on video. And I think some of the people that he spoke with, like Van Jones, I don't think they were really aware that they were being shot. They might have been, but whether they knew that he was mic'd up or they took note of it, I don't know. His microphone was right out, on his lapel. You could see it, but whether they realized that it was live, I kind of doubt it. He was out there shooting videos for political purposes, for content. And that's what he was doing. Here, I'll show you. Here's an interaction. He waded into that crowd on purpose with a live mic and a live camera to capture these interactions so that it was like clickbait of sorts, right? Hoping for some dramatic interaction, and it worked. Hats off to him. Nothing illegal about it or anything, what he was doing, but if you think this was just spontaneous, no, he planned it. And then, of course, because he knows he's on camera, everything he does is filtered. He's going to choose his words carefully, and he's aware. He's playing to the camera. The people he's interacting with, maybe not so much, right? They might not be aware, so he has automatically an advantage during the interaction. This is modern day media in the social media era.
So I'm curious as to what you're doing here. Are you a supporter of the genocide against the Palestinian people? So I'm curious as to what you're doing here. Are you a supporter of the genocide against the Palestinian people?
I am an American who is actually here to listen to the views of people who disagree with me. Now, one of the reasons I'm supporting a candidate in this election.
Of Israel?
I support the United States, and because of that I support Israel and our relationship with them.
You support a genocide that has killed 40,000 Palestinians in the last 10 months.
So look, I think that the truth is there was an attack that precipitated it.
No, the
and
truth
we can't
is,
ignore
listen,
that.
dude,
I don't
play those kinds of games. I'm an organizer. I'm not one of your.
I'm also pragmatist.
I'm not one of these people.
You're not a party hack. You're not a partisan
acolyte of yours.
You're not a partisan
hack. I'm not an acolyte of yours, and I'm not a hack for you or for the Democrats or for the Republicans or nobody else.
I got you.
I'm asking you that you have no right to be here if you're not in support of the Palestinian people.
Well, I think
and if you're not going to call for an end to a genocide.
You have the right to be here.
If you're not going to call
so do we
for an end to the genocide and an end to the killing and an end to support of Israel, then you should take off. We don't want you here. You're not welcome here.
Well, the good news is we're America, and so we actually get to all express ourselves peacefully.
You get to express being a racist?
You get to
express being a racist Zionist pig? Is that what you get to express?
I'm pro-American, but I believe in your right to speak. I believe in your right to speak your mind.
Do you believe?
Racists go home! 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 America first! America first! America first! How about that?
Did that one guy have a swastika on his neck? Or did I just see that incorrectly? I'm just looking for that. Not that I want to get hung up on symbols because it's that guy right there. Not that guy. I swear there was somebody. They're right there, right there. What was that? No, it's not. No, it's like, it's crosses, Christian crosses on his neck tattoo. See that? It was just a flash, so I couldn't really tell what it was. Yeah, so that was Vivek Ramaswamy. nothing really wrong with what he did. I just think that it's important to understand how these things happen, understand the circumstances surrounding those kinds of interactions. Pretty interesting stuff. And that is the way that guy operates. Now, this was posted just about 5 hours ago on X. I don't know what this is. I'm gonna run this. Just it's about RFK Jr. It's piqued my interest. I saw this post just before we came online, and I think it's produced, but it looks like it might be relevant. It might not be. This is a shot in the dark and a little bit of a risk, but I want to see it, so let's share it.
You had been asked whether you would accept a position on the ticket if Trump asked you, and I think your response was, that would be devastating to my marriage.
I think Bobby knows me very well.
Ah, okay.
I think that's the
answer.
That's also why he's not saying anything right now.
I think that's your answer.
You had been asked.
Yeah. So, is RFK Jr. looking for a divorce lawyer? Oh, well, what did I say? I said he's been everywhere. He has been everywhere. Started with the Democrats, moved to an independent thing, then flirted with the libertarians, talked a little bit to Trump. Trump offered him a thing, talked to him. It was supposed to be a confidential phone call. It was video recorded and then pumped out on social media, an apparent attempt to burn Trump. Then he went over and reached out to Kamala Harris to see if maybe he could get some sort of a deal over there for a position. That's what the report is. It appears to be very credible. They didn't want to talk to him, so he went back over to Trump, and now he's endorsed President Trump. And I think it's going to benefit Trump. Everything I'm reading, though, indicates that the split that will occur now among RFK Jr.'s campaign team, his supporters, is going to be pretty even, I think, between the Democrats and the Republicans, between Harris and MAGA and Trump. So I don't know. Every indication is that it's going to break a little bit in favor of Trump. Might make a difference of a percentage or two at the end of the day. But given the fact that this is such a tight election, it might be the thing that makes all the difference. It might actually give Trump the presidency. It could happen. I think this whole thing about leaving his name on the ballot in areas that are not key battleground states, I think he should just not do that. That's my opinion. It just seems I don't know what that is. It's like it's saving face, I guess. It's like, I'm not really giving up. I'm still in the race, but I'm not quitting. I'm suspending. Because there's still this bizarre twist chance thing that I could maybe, if this happens, end up in the White House if neither candidate gets enough of the votes from the Electoral College, blah, 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 blah. He's not going to be the president. He's not going to the White House in that way. But he will ride Trump's coattails now. And he will take advantage of that because he can use that to have some influence within the administration if Trump is elected, and he can use that to as a platform to distribute messages on the issues that are important to him. So his candidacy has not been a waste at all. By moving over to the Trump camp, he breathes new life into his movement, gives it relevance again in the face of a massive decline and bankruptcy because they've run out of money over at the campaign. That was the reality. Refunded $1 million to his running mate, Shanahan, who has been basically bankrolling the whole thing. but they can't compete with the big those big party machines, the Democrats and Republicans. Just can't do it. Not really. I mean, he did a really good show. Good effort. Great campaign team effort. Although, really, it was a disaster. Let's just face it, it was. It just wasn't working. At times, it seemed to have some momentum, and then it would fall apart. Misfire, right, including the launch on X with Elon Musk, which everyone was really excited about, but just the technical problems, when he tried to kick off his campaign, it just turned into a dumpster fire. You know what else has been a disaster? This flight into space, where the Boeing astronauts are trapped. And they ain't coming home on the Boeing Starliner space capsule. No, it's up to Elon Musk and the SpaceX team to rescue the stranded Boeing astronauts who are still up in space. NASA news conference. Let's go there and listen to what they have to say about bringing these two astronauts home.
Which information could come forward. We have been very solicitous of all of our employees that if you have some objection, you come forward. Space flight is risky, even at its safest, and even at its most routine. And a test flight by nature is neither safe nor routine. And so the decision to keep Butch and Sonny aboard the International Space Station and bring the Boeing Starliner home uncrewed is a result of a commitment to safety. Our core value is safety, and it is our North Star. And I'm grateful to NASA and to Boeing for their teams, for all the incredible and detailed work to get to this decision. Turn it over to Jim.
Thank you, sir. Thank you and Deputy Administrator Melroy for your support along the way and certainly for being here today. It means a lot. I'd like to communicate to all of you that we've come to this decision using our program, our mission directorate, and our agency level processes. That includes the decisions that happen at the commercial crew program, at the space operations mission directorate level, and the agency level, and includes all of our technical authorities from engineering, safety, medical, and flight operations. As the administrator said, our focus is on safety all the time, and this certainly is no different. The uncertainty in our margins is where we have come to make the decision that the administrator laid out. That uncertainty remains in our understanding of the physics going on in the thrusters, and we still have some work to go. You'll hear more from others on the specifics, but I'll tell you that the NASA and Boeing team have made incredible technical progress in the model development that has gone on, the thruster testing, understanding material properties within the valve, and the complicated fluid physics that are happening inside. We will continue to learn. We are a learning organization, and I think we've demonstrated that here. We'll learn from this effort so that our crews who are at the top of the pyramid on these missions and their families can continue to know we've done that and we'll always do our best.
$1.5 billion over budget is what I understand the Boeing program was. It looks like it'll be February before those astronauts get home aboard a SpaceX spacecraft. They're freeing up a couple of seats. So I hope they're comfortable up there. I hope they have enough food, water, and air. I shouldn't laugh, serious stuff, but at least they're putting safety front and center. Let's take a little break. We'll be right back after this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow, maybe too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Anthony Fauci, the good doctor, has been hospitalized. Apparently, he has been infected with the West Nile virus. Now, I should say he was hospitalized. It looks like he has been released. He was in the hospital for 6 days. He's now recovering at home. And I know that he's been, totally boosted, totally vaxxed and boosted and vaxxed. And he has now had COVID, I believe, a total of 3 times. And now I shouldn't laugh. I can't help it. I can't help it. He's been infected with West Nile virus. So, generally, you get West Nile virus from mosquito bites. It's a disease that is largely spread through by mosquitoes. And it first appeared here in North America back in 1999, I believe. And because of West Nile virus, there have been almost 3,000 deaths. And about 100 people die even now every year in the United States alone from West Nile virus. So it can be quite serious. And once you have it, I think it affects you for a long time. And Dr. Fauci, the good doctor, is dealing with that himself tonight. Finding out firsthand what it's like. So, he's at risk. You know who else, at least according to some media reports, might be at risk? Vladimir Putin. Yeah. Interesting. I'm seeing a lot of reports emerge, many of them just within the last 24 hours, talking about another possible coup being cooked up, or at least an attempted coup being cooked up against Vladimir Putin. Suggestions through some media here in the West that some of the powerful oligarchs and some of the people who run some of those private military services are getting frustrated with what's going on with regard to this conflict in Ukraine. And of course, we've seen this incursion into Russia now involving Ukrainian forces into the Kursk area, into Kursk. Very dramatic. They've captured a lot of territory. Depending on how you look at this, it's very significant or not, depending on which side of the spectrum you sit. It's significant. It's a huge embarrassment to Russia. It was a military move that met with almost no resistance as they went into Russia. I saw a video just today, new video, which I can't share with you here, but it was posted online by a reporter who accompanied Ukrainian troops into Russian territory, which Russia is not happy about either. And in fact, we talked earlier this week about how Russia takes exception to that and has placed at least one CNN journalist on a list because of their decision to accompany Ukrainian troops into Russian territory, which is now occupied by Ukrainian troops. But in the video that I saw, like a little bit of barbed wire, a few dragon's teeth kind of here and there, but not really properly set up. No guards. They just walked in. Now there are suggestions from some that maybe that's because of corruption within Russia itself. There was a lot of money, I guess, that was earmarked by Putin for defenses at the border, for things like dragon's teeth and other measures that just were not implemented. So either the money wasn't there or the money was there and then didn't find its way there, which suggests that maybe some people are pocketing the money. At least those are the suggestions from some Western media outlets. So I'd say some secondary Western media outlets. Is it propaganda or is it true? I guess time will tell, but we are really just about 1 year out from that incident, the thing that was perceived to be by many around the world an attempted coup by Yevgeny Prigozhin of the Wagner Group, Putin's former personal chef who ended up at the owner of the Wagner mercenary group. And then we saw that dramatic drive across Russia by the Wagner soldiers as they were heading toward Moscow. And Prigozhin had been very critical of the Russian military, saying that they needed more ammunition, more provisions, and they weren't getting it from the Russian military. Extremely critical, very vocal, went online, and you're not supposed to do that in Russia. I said at the time, I think that guy has a death wish. Anyway, some sort of arrangement was made, and that drive across the country came to an end. Looked like maybe Prigozhin would be spared, and then suddenly he ended up dying in a plane crash a short time later. Very, very mysterious. Well, tonight we're seeing many reports suggesting that because of the Ukrainian incursion, because we're now seeing that Russia has not responded, there are suggestions that maybe Russia is unable to respond. So even that kind of rhetoric is salt in the wound, so to speak. Although on the Russian side, I'm hearing rhetoric like none of those Ukrainian soldiers are going to survive. They're going to be encircled by Russian troops, and they'll all perish. I don't know. I'm just telling you what both sides are saying. I will say this. Ukraine scored big points. No question about it. And they showed that that all these reports we've been getting, that it's already over, or it'll be over on Tuesday. Nope, not true. Not true at all. Not true at all. Jackson Hinkle, wrong again, and company. But I've been saying that for a long time. Truth. A rare commodity these days, but we'll try to bring it to you here. Best we can. We're trying anyway, we're trying. What else do we have for you tonight? You got to keep your eye, too, on Prime Minister of India. He paid Putin a visit, then he went over and he was meeting with Zelensky. I think Modi is maybe thinking about trying to broker some sort of a peace deal. I'd welcome peace. I don't know about you. German police have arrested a suspect who went on a stabbing rampage. This is breaking news in the town of Solingen and has been taken into police custody. North Rhine-Westphalia's Interior Minister Herbert Ruhl says that he's a bit relieved now that authorities spent the day following a hot lead that led to the arrest. The Islamic State group earlier claimed, what am I seeing here in this news release? So they're saying that, I guess, this ISIS, a soldier of the Islamic State, is the way this guy is being described. After taking responsibility for Friday's knife attack that wounded 8 people, they've taken this guy into custody. I'm not sure, do we have an age or a name on this guy? I think he's just young. I think he's only like 15. It was a knife attack at a festival. And he was targeting, I guess, victims' throats. And we don't know exactly what the motive was, but it appears to be possibly an act of terrorism. I'm sure we'll hear more about that. So yeah, it looks like maybe, I know that there's one, his name escapes me at the moment, the operator of another Russian mercenary group, smaller than the Wagner group, but he has made public statements just in the last number of days, very critical of Putin, actually suggesting maybe that it's time for Putin to go, and I wouldn't want to be in his shoes, I'll tell you. I don't think it's wise. I don't think it's wise to talk like that out in the open. Look what happened to the last guy. Don't do that. You might accidentally, on purpose, fall out of a window. Duh. Yeah, because as much as the war's not over, the war's not over. And as much as Ukraine has made gains, I wouldn't underestimate the Russian side either. This is going to go on for a while, folks. Ukraine made gains. Doesn't mean it's over. Ukraine made gains. Doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. Russia's going to do something. You can pretty much count on that, I think. But they have shown vulnerabilities and shortcomings that we told didn't exist. We were told that they didn't exist. But that was a bit of an untruth, I would say. Well, I hope Dr. Fauci is okay. I hope he's all right. You know, as much as Jackson Hinkle hates America, other people love it. They love the history. They love all the things that built America. I love a lot of things about America, and I'm not even American. I'm a Canadian. But I still love the United States. I do. And I love the history. I love the industrial history. I love Detroit. I love our friend Joseph, who comes on the program and entertains us and informs us. I love Motown. I love Mopars. Love Chryslers. I've owned quite a number of Chryslers. But these days, that brand is under attack. It's being neglected, frankly, by its current parent company, Stellantis, which is a multinational global mega corporation with a whole bunch of different automotive brands under its umbrella. Well, now there is a letter to the people to save Chrysler, a call to action from Frank Rhodes Jr., I guess. Well, this is an article by Frank Rhodes Jr., and he says that right here, I am writing to you today. Let me just share this with you. This guy wants to resurrect the Chrysler brand in a proper way and nurse it back to health and restore that American pride in an old symbol of American industrial might, Chrysler. It says, I'm writing to you today not just as a concerned citizen, but as someone with a deep personal connection to one of our nation's most iconic brands. My great-grandfather, Walter P. Chrysler, founded the Chrysler Corporation in 1925, a company that has since become a cornerstone of American automotive history. As we approach the 100th anniversary of Chrysler with plans for what could be the largest gathering of Chrysler products ever seen in North America at next year's Chrysler Carlisle event, I believe the time for change is now, and I am ready to lead that change. He says, for the past 45 years, I have proudly served as a brand ambassador for Chrysler. I've seen the highs and the lows, the triumphs and the challenges, but today I believe we are all at a critical juncture. The Chrysler brand, once a symbol of innovation and American ingenuity, it was always known for its innovative engineering, is now at risk of fading into obscurity due to what I believe are poor decisions and mismanagement by its current owners, Stellantis. Stellantis, he says here, a company that seems out of touch with the American market, has allowed sales to decline, delayed new product launches, and put the livelihoods of our dealers and workers in jeopardy. Prices are soaring, layoffs are looming, and the future of the brand hangs in the balance. Meanwhile, Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares earns a staggering $39.5 million salary, a figure that seems grossly out of proportion given the struggles facing the company. He says, my great-grandfather was hired by General Motors in 1911 to save the failing Buick brand. Within a few years, he turned Buick into GM's most profitable division. Buick's still going strong today, but even back then, poor management decisions like investing in impractical projects threatened to derail his efforts. This mirrors the situation today where Stellantis' investments in ventures like Archer Aviation seem to distract from the core business of building great cars. These funds would be better spent on revitalizing the Chrysler brand. Oh, look at that 1961 Chrysler 300G convertible. Those things were gorgeous. Muscle cars is what those things were among the first. Chrysler 300. What a wicked old machine. My uncle had one of those. I remember it well. The current management, oh, I'm so old. The current management at Stellantis, overseeing more than 15 different brands, cannot give Chrysler the necessary attention. The result? Mediocrity at best. And now, with the potential entry of Chinese automaker BYD that I keep talking about here and warning Justin Trudeau and Joe Biden about. Where was I here? BYD into the U.S. market, our industry faces an even greater threat. The influx of cheap cars, that's right, from China, could devastate our manufacturing base. And this is not just a possibility, it is a fact. And Donald Trump talks about that too. Don't lose sight of that, guys, I'm telling you. He says, I was hopeful when Christine Fuel was appointed to lead the Chrysler brand, but year after year, we see Chrysler's products being pushed further down the priority list, while slow-selling brands like Fiat, Alfa Romeo, and Maserati receive more attention. Chrysler has deep roots in the American market, serving as a reliable and accessible option for the middle class. Does Stellantis understand this? Chrysler needs new products now, not tomorrow, not next year, now. That is very true. Chrysler doesn't have really much of anything in its lineup. He talks here about the United Auto Workers and President Sean Fain criticizing Stellantis and Carlos Tavares for failing to honor contracts. He says, I stand with our workers, but it's clear that the current approach is not working. Stellantis and GM are pricing themselves out of the market, and layoffs seem inevitable. This is a situation that cannot continue. It's true, man. It's true. They should do something to save that company, bring it back to life, breathe new life into it. And Stellantis has been trimming its products and its brands, and they're trying to address profitability issues. I know they were holding some meetings just within the last week, really focusing on that, but they haven't really nurtured Chrysler. They've just milked it and sucked the life out of it since it's been with Stellantis. Man, I remember, even back in the 70s and the 80s and Chrysler nearly going bankrupt, and the loan that they got, the loans that they ended up paying back, Lee Iacocca, head of the company, guiding it back to health with the K car and the minivan. There was a visionary. There was a businessman who knew what he was doing, Lee Iacocca, a guy who some people thought should have been president, but never actually took the plunge, never took a run at the White House. But man, he turned that company around. Same guy who gave us the Mustang at Ford before he moved over to Chrysler. He was responsible and involved in a lot of iconic cars. Chrysler brand. Global now, a global automaker under a global automotive brand. Companies like GM, Ford, Chrysler, no longer just American companies. They're global corporations. World companies. The economy has changed a whole lot. Let's take a break. We'll come back on the other side.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so at the DNC convention, we saw so many people who spoke. We heard repeated messaging about abortion, women's health, right? Abortion. And they keep saying that, Trump has taken away or did take away or will take away a woman's right to choose. Well, today that issue was presented in an interview on NBC Meet the Press to Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, who insists, he says that Trump has explicitly said he would veto an abortion ban. Says Trump would do that if a bill were to be passed by Congress. And so there he is on Meet the Press, and this is like, I think is this like maybe the main issue for the Kamala Harris campaign? Is this what if it's not number one, it's got to be in the top 3 issues, maybe number 2, maybe number 1. But it isn't really clear, maybe, I don't know, where does Trump really stand on the issue? I know that he's pro-life, but of course he's being, I think, trying to be pragmatic about it. It's really hard to pin down his exact position right now on this, but J.D. Vance trying to clarify things in a way that will resonate with voters. Here's a clip from his interview on Meet the Press.
That Donald Trump, if elected, will impose a federal ban on abortion. And Democrats made the case this week and beyond this week that Donald Trump, if elected, will impose a federal ban on abortion if he wins. Now, Donald Trump says he won't, but can you commit, Senator, sitting right here with me today, that if you and Donald Trump are elected, that you will not impose a federal ban on abortion?
I can absolutely commit that, Kristen, and Donald Trump has been as clear about that as possible. I think it's important to step back and say, what has Donald Trump actually said on the abortion question, and how is it different from what Kamala Harris and the Democrats have said? Donald Trump wants to end this culture war over this particular topic. If California wants to have a different abortion policy from Ohio, then Ohio has to respect California and California has to respect Ohio. Donald Trump's view is that we want the individual states and their individual cultures and their unique political sensibilities to make these decisions because we don't want to have a nonstop federal conflict over this issue. The federal government ought to be focused on getting food prices down, getting housing prices down, issues, of course, where Kamala Harris has been a total disaster. So I think Donald Trump is right. We want the federal government to focus on these big economic and immigration questions. Let the states figure out their own abortion policy.
Let me just follow up with you a little bit on that point, because I've been talking to Republicans, including Senator Lindsey Graham just last week, who've made it very clear that if Donald Trump is elected, if you are elected, they will continue to press this point. Senator Graham said to me, I'm going to keep saying that there should be a federal ban. If such a piece of legislation landed on Donald Trump's desk, would he veto it?
Well, I think it'd be very clear he would not support it. I mean, he said that explicitly. Yeah, I mean, if you're not supporting it as the President of the United States, you fundamentally have to veto it.
So he would veto a federal abortion ban?
I think he would. He said that explicitly, that he would.
In other words, he's downloading the issue onto the states so that he doesn't have to take the political fallout from any decision that is made. He's going to leave the decision up to the states, and then he doesn't have to deal with it. And politically, that's the smart thing to do. Although you might not like it. So what about Trump? What's he saying? Well, he posted this online today, and again, this is another clip that I know sort of what it's about, but not entirely. So this is the first time I've heard this too. Once again, we're taking the plunge together. Let's listen to the Don.
So we easily beat crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country. And he's the worst because of his policy and other reasons, but because of policy. And now they decided they don't want to go with him, so they staged a coup. That's all it was, is a coup. It should have never been allowed, actually. And we have Kamala. We're going to have Kamala instead. They put in another fighter. The first one failed, and the second one is going to fail also because she wants open borders and she wants no Merry Christmas even. I just heard today she's a big fan of fighting no Merry Christmas. No, we're going to have Merry Christmas just like we got for everybody 7 years ago. We brought it back. It was in deep trouble. We brought it back. But we're going to bring back all of our common sense things. And you look at the fighters now in the Olympics, how horrible that is. I say there will not be men in women's sports, and that's really probably been our best advertisement of why it shouldn't happen. It's ridiculous, it's insane. But between open borders and defund the police and all of the things that she stands for, we're going to fight very, very hard. Whatever you can do to help, because they have a lot of money. They don't have good policy. They don't have good people. They go after their political opponent with the Justice Department. Never happened in this country before. But whatever you can do, do it. If you can't afford it, please don't do it. But if you can afford, we have to win this. We're going to take back our country. We're going to make America great again. Thank you very much.
The end. Yeah, make Christmas great again. Oh, yeah. Let me see if I can find this thing with... Well, first of all, I'll show you J.D. Vance. All these politicians, they're trying to make themselves look like, I don't know what this is. They're all going to like fast food places or whatever, because I guess they have to make it look like they're just like the common people. Got to go hang out with the peasants. Got to go down to Dunkin' Donuts. That's where J.D. Vance went, to a donut shop. I don't know which one it is. Again, here's another little clip-a-rooney. And we'll play this one. This is J.D. Vance slumming it with the commoners.
The zoo has come
at
to
the
town.
donut shop. Hang on, here we go.
The zoo has come to town. Thank you for letting us come in here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man. Okay, yeah. She doesn't want to be on film, guys, so just cut her out of anything. Appreciate that, man. I'm J.D. Vance. I'm running for vice president. Good to see you.
Okay.
How long are you working?
I don't know who you are, and I really don't care as to what kind of donuts people.
Okay.
For this year.
Okay, yeah. How about you, sir?
Almost 2 years.
Okay, good. Just everything, yeah. I mean, a lot of glazed here, some sprinkle stuff, some of these cinnamon rolls, just whatever makes sense. How long has this place been around?
About 4 years.
About 4 years? Okay. How long have you been here?
A little over 6 months.
Okay, good. The Zoom is coming to town. Thank you for letting us come in here.
Yes, sir.
How long you been here? Too long. Just look,
She
look,
doesn't want to
guy.
be on film, guys, so just cut her out of anything.
Yeah, just look. Just get your donuts and your coffee and get these guys out of here. You're making me uncomfortable.
How long have you worked here?
I've been here since.
Ben, how long have you been in donut
Okay.
prison?
This year.
Okay, good. How
Hey.
about you, sir?
Almost 2 years.
Okay.
Just look at the camera, just like
everything.
it's
Yeah,
like
a
taking
lot
my
of
big.
glazed here, some
You're
sprinkle
making him
stuff,
feel very
some
uncomfortable,
of these cinnamon
JD.
rolls, just whatever makes sense. How long has this place been around?
Give me some things, whatever makes sense, whatever for all
About 4
my
years?
Secret Service
Okay.
guys.
How long have you been here?
And if you don't hurry up, we're gonna
Okay, good.
just to let you know they're
The
armed.
Zoom has come to town. Thank you for letting us.
Yeah, he says thanks for letting us come in here. If their manager finds out that you're shooting video in the donut shop, they're gonna get fired, JD. Just letting you know. I'm just joking around. Just joking around. Let's take a. I'm gonna take another break. I'll be right back.
He's a fighter. He's a survivor. President Trump, defiant, strong. He is determined to make America great again. Pay tribute to the 45th President of the United States with this collectible t-shirt from the Maverick News Memorable Moments collection. Even a would-be assassin's bullet could not stop him. Instead, he emerged with his fist in the air ready to fight. For freedom. Get your Trump Fighting for Freedom t-shirt with any donation of $30 or more to Maverick News. There are 2 iconic artistic designs to choose from. But there is only one way to get these. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Support free speech. Free media. Support Maverick News. Call 1-866-248-1490 or order online at supergeeks.tv.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the founding fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching. The world is watching. On TV, the entire world is watching. On social media.
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching.
Okay, so just a reminder that you can support the program by donating at maverickdonations.com. And I appreciate all the support you guys have provided. Oh, and thank you, David Doyle. I know you donated $20 last night. I saw that in the Rumble Rants after the program. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. We need that like you don't know this month. Bills to pay coming up. And you can help us with that either at maverickdonations.com or freedomreporters.com. And yes, if you donate $30 or more, I would be happy to send you a Maverick News t-shirt or one of the Trump Fight or Fighting for Freedom t-shirts or a Exile the Knights of Malta t-shirt. Just let me know what kind you want in the notation when you make your donation, and I will mail it out to you. And I think we have two people waiting. They've been waiting for a long time. I had to have a couple of things made, and we're working on that. And that they'll be going out shortly. So thank you for your patience on that. And speaking of fashion, we're going to wrap things up tonight with one more look at a Walmart fashionista, just for your viewing pleasure. Okay, let's go back to Walmart. And here's another Walmart fashion statement. This is how this lady goes shopping. I go, oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait. I don't know. I can't really tell the difference. Okay, this is Walmart, right? Isn't this Walmart? It looks very much like I've seen people at Walmart. Some people at Walmart dressed just like this. I was showing you there was the woman with the 3 butts, and then there were people with the thongs and the shorts. And I'm sure I saw a woman, I think I saw her at Walmart. She might have been there today when I was shopping, and I saw the "We no longer accept U.S. cash." Not just currency. It wasn't currency, it was cash. They don't accept U.S. dollars. But I'm pretty sure she was there, and I think I'm pretty sure I saw her. No, wait a minute. No, what's her name? Lindsay Pellis. Oh, I'm sorry. So hard to tell the difference. So hard to tell the difference. That's Lindsay Pellis. 9 million followers on Instagram. I don't know what it is she has to offer that would get her that many Instagram followers. Can anyone help me out with that? Any idea at all? I'm sure you can get that outfit at Walmart. I'm pretty sure I saw that there. It was in the women's section. It's right up near the front of the store, actually, just in the center. If you're looking for it, aisle 7. Okay, just letting you know. Yeah, she's on a budget. She's on a budget. It's a rough life. Life of a Walmart supermodel. I'll be back tonight at 10 p.m. Rejoin at 10 Eastern for Maverick Midnight Matinee. I'm going to be setting the broadcast up shortly. And tonight, a special treat, a movie by Frank Capra. One of the greatest American filmmakers ever. Tonight we present the first in a series of war films that Capra produced that were really very, very good documentaries in the Why We Fight series. So join us for that at 10 p.m. Eastern. Love you guys, and thank you for spending the time here tonight. See you back here very shortly in an hour, less than an hour and a half on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.